Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm Danielle Pailly, and today I'm really excited to be talking with Mark Segal. He spent 43 years as a performing puppeteer and has now transitioned into designing journals. He's here to talk about his Write Review Index method and why people should journal. And writing and creativity is a big part of my life, so I'm really excited to hear what he has to share. Mark, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Daniel. I'm very excited about this actually,
Me
because
too. We
yeah,
connected online because we're both fellow journal writers. So before we get into all that, can you give us a little backstory, your work in puppetry? Can you set the stage a little?
yeah, sure. I started doing puppet shows in 1977. Um, I graduated from Boston University School of Fine Arts as an actor. I acted for a couple of years, and then in '77 I started the puppet theater. And the way I started the puppet theater was I walked into a store. It was at that time it was called Strawbridge and Clothier in Philadelphia. It was like a Macy's or something like
Yeah, yeah.
that. And I put a tennis ball on my finger and I said, "Wouldn't you like a show with this?" And they said, "Sure." And that started my career in October of '77. Um, and since then, when I was stopped, I was doing like 250 plus shows a year, and a couple of years before that, I was doing 520. So
Wow.
yeah,
All that from putting something on your finger and saying, "Would you like a show about this?"
yeah, I actually saved that puppet because it was so crude, and then my puppets changed over time as I gained experience. I would say that for me, puppetry was self-taught. I mean, lots of books and lots of trial and error and just doing it. But I made a 43-year career of it, raised four children, and bought a house and have dogs. So it was a good life for me. I ended up doing my shows. I had a wide territory in Pennsylvania. I went from like Bethlehem, PA, down to um, to Delaware Valley, Aston, PA. I mean, it was like a wide, and I live in like the north of Philadelphia. Um, in the '90s, well, actually in the '80s, um, I got hooked up with a dentist, and I was doing dental shows for him, teaching kids about dental awareness. It wasn't dental health as much as dental awareness, and it became and I was also very well known for doing Breakfast with Santa because I had a really good Breakfast with Santa show. Um, and all my clients were very long term, 14 years, 20 years before it ended. Um, and COVID just shut me down, and then COVID and age.
Mm.
So I was lost. I lost my identity. I
Ah.
mean, I totally lost my identity. I mean, totally. It was my whole image of self was I'm a puppeteer. So if I'm not being a puppeteer, building puppets or whatever,
Who am I?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I journal writing was always something that was very specific for me. I mean, it was a tool that I used like from the '80s, and I would go in and out of journal writing. But on March 12th, uh, am I talking too much?
No, no,
Uh,
share. I'll
on,
let you know when we're out of time.
okay, okay, fine.
Or I'll jump in when I
Um,
want to say something. It's all good.
please do, because I'll just talk. On March 12th, 2020 was my last show. I had no idea it was my last show. I
Mm.
mean, I'm telling you, I would see literally 40,000 children a year, 40,000 people a year,
Yeah.
every year, for at least I saw that amount of people like over 10 years, every year, 40,000, easy.
Mm.
Um, and or they saw me, one or the other. And on March 12th, 2020, I did my last show and I had no idea it was my last show. And for like 2 years, I just kept thinking I'm coming back. So I went to my old habit of journaling, of writing, and I actually ended up starting a daily habit that never stopped. And at first, has not stopped till this day. At first, I was using, the Moleskines, like these blank
Uh-huh.
Moleskines,
Yep.
which are wonderful books. I mean, they are really wonderful books. And I even wrote to them and said, would you publish my format? And they never responded. So anyhow, this is what the writing looks like in a Moleskine, right? You just go
Yep.
across. There are no numbers in the pages. There's nothing, and it's a black cover. It's inexpensive. It's a great book, great paper, great everything. So I got bored with the black book, and I started putting covers on it like
Okay.
that. And
Yeah, yeah.
I just print something up and I put a cover on it, and um, I started to separate my page.
Yeah. Started indexing different. Okay. Yeah.
No, there was no index on this yet. I mean, the indexing is in the back.
Okay.
What I was afraid I was going to lose is there are ideas in here, and at this time, this is from 21.
Hmm.
So at this time, I was still very actively working on trying to design, puppets and figure out what to do for shows and stuff like that because I was coming back
Yeah.
and I had to make the transition to like video and stuff like that. And that was all beyond my wheelhouse. So I tried lots of things, to keep that aspect of my life together.
Yep.
Um, by the way, what this doesn't have, there's no numbers on the pages, and that's what that didn't have. So over the time, um, I was writing like, who the heck am I? And I realized as I was writing, in my writing and by reviewing, that I'm a creative. Okay, great. I'm a creative. And that gave me a new sense of identity, a creative. Okay, I can say I'm a creative. And of course, I feel like everybody's creative. I mean, that's not something that uh, you would hang your hat on. I mean, it's like you talk to a doctor, you say, "Well, I'm a doctor. I'm a puppeteer. That's a great identity." But for myself, for myself, saying I'm a creative gave me a sense of self again a little bit.
Yeah. And it's
And
more expansive because you can take that in so many different directions. It's not like I do this, it's I create. So it kind of opens it up and expands it a little bit.
it also says I value my thoughts and my ideas.
Yeah. That's
And
powerful.
that's, yeah, I think it's really powerful to realize that the problem when you like that, I mean, because you tend to look at things a little bit differently sometimes. The problem is you don't often get a lot of support.
Mm.
Like I would say, the support I've had for my journals and wanting to make journals, and I get to how I got to that,
Mhm.
has been, well, at least from my family, from the people who are closest to me, um, pretty nil. In fact,
Mm.
it's enough to break you down. I mean, if you keep getting, if you have a thought or a dream, or look, I had a 43-year career as a puppeteer. I would say it took me 10 years easily to develop into a livelihood. So I worked from 77 until, like, say, 86, where I was gaining a reputation. I did a lot of shows. I did anything I could do, but I wasn't making a living the way you make a living where you can buy a house
Yeah. Yeah.
or where you can have kids or something like that. It was, my parents, God bless them, they were extremely supportive. I
Yeah.
mean, they supported me in everything. Without them, I wouldn't have had a career. Um, so I just kept pushing, and I kept getting all kinds of response. But that took 10 years, and all of a sudden, I hit into something, doing these. I was calling them health education learning shows, which breaks down into help.
Yeah.
HELP. And the objective was to entertain. I mean, I didn't care what the topic was, it was to entertain. So I came up with a way of designing an educational show. And because I had dental clients, it was centered around.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I did that same show for over 34 years.
Yeah.
Um, but it was
Was it
never
the
the
dream?
same show.
Was it the dream job? Did you love every minute of it? Did you ever think, oh man, I should have done something else, or was this your pure joy and passion?
I've got two answers for you on that. No, it was not my dream job. It was my doing the dental shows was my bread and butter job.
Ah,
It provided me the opportunity to do other shows. I mean, puppetry is an incredible art form. It gave me the opportunity to do other shows and not worry about them. I mean, I would spend months on a show, not get paid a lot for it because I was covered. I mean, I was good.
gotcha.
I had the dental show. So I did a lot of I did a lot of Jewish shows. I did a lot of experimental shows, and I wanted to do adult theater, but that's not where it was really at for me. I was really good with doing the shows for kids and exploring a topic and keep trying to find better ways of communicating the topic because puppetry is about communication. And I have this hubris that I think that all art or all plastic, whatever you call it, is about communication. I think it's very important. Communication is, if you're not communicating to somebody, why are you doing it? I mean, if you're a performer,
Yeah.
if you're not communicating, why are you doing it?
So now, as this transition into being a creative, I do want to see I do want to see some of your journals in a moment, but tell the audience, why do you feel like they should journal? What will they get out of journaling?
um, I think you have to kind of decide for yourself what kind of journaling you're going to do first. I do stream of consciousness journaling. A lot of people are familiar with the morning pages.
Mhm.
Um, I like stream of consciousness journaling because it takes me places I did not expect to go to. So why should people journal? Because if you're doing it for a purpose, like to help yourself, it can be full of self-discovery. If you're doing it for a purpose, like to design a program or to design a project or to work on a project, it's it's a um, it's a brainstorming tool between you and you. And the idea is really that most of the answers you're going to need for anything are up here,
Hmm.
most of them,
Yeah.
but they're kind of the unconscious answers. And you just have to open up the door. And it can be very therapeutic if you're venting about something. And if your object is not to be angry about something or not to be upset about something, this is the place where you can explore it. The book is where you can explore that and say, okay, I'll give you an example. Matt, do I have time to give you an
Yeah.
example?
Go for it.
One of the most powerful, I don't work with prompts. I just I don't say, what am I going to write about today? I don't work with prompts. I just kind of write.
Hmm.
The only specific thing I do when I write is I write the date and I write the number of the day number. Like, so for example, I don't, yeah, today, you know what the number of day of the year that today is?
I do not.
Yeah, that's because you don't do it in your journal. Today is the 210th day of 2025.
Okay.
See, I always I don't know if you can see this. I always highlight the date
Hmm.
and I record the day number. Um, why? I have no clue. But the fact that it's the 210th day is not the 211th day always indicates to me some sort of something, like, great, you've gone 10 days, whatever. Um,
Yeah, so they can use it for project planning. People can use it for
yes,
tapping into their inner wisdom. You like stream of
yes,
conscious. Even in coaching, I sometimes do give people prompts when they're looking at something, if they're stuck in their life. Like I've given them prompts about their views about money or their views about family or just something that they're working through I'm curious, you've done stream of conscious. Have you tried like automatic writing where you kind of sit, meditate, you have a question for the whatever universe or within, and then you just pick up a pen and write. It's similar to stream of conscious, but it's setting an intention first.
That's an interesting question because, um, but before I answer that, there was something you just said. I'm not opposed to prompts, and I think that what you're saying
Yeah.
is very helpful. And um, I've seen I've seen your book, and there were those prompts up there, and I thought they were very helpful. If you follow them, I think they can lead you someplace very productive. But the automatic writing. So I believe I was working. I have a book in design that I haven't published yet. That's called Dear Subsea. That's the name of the book, Dear Subsea. And Dear Subsea stands for Dear Subconscious. Dear Subsea. And the idea was that you write, something that you're working on or a problem that you're trying to figure out. You write it at night before you go to sleep, and in the morning you write down the answers that you have. And it may not be obvious that you have an answer, but you do end up with an answer of some point in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you the most powerful prompt not a prompt, it's a quote, and that is, it's my favorite. Um, Change the way you think to change the way you feel.
Yeah.
Change the way you think to change the way you feel. It's not like rocket science, right? So, as you can imagine, over the past 5 years, I've had many ups and downs, and I
Yeah.
get angry when I'm not getting the support I want, and the encouragement I need, and I feel defeated. I feel this. I feel whatever it is, and
Mm.
it's hard to give it to yourself, like that encouragement when you're not seeing it out there, and that people are giving it to you. So one more, I just remembered, I could find it in a journal somewhere. I woke up and I think it was on a Tuesday actually, and it was very negative, very negative. This isn't working, that's not working. I should have done this. I'm good here. I'm no good there. I'm not whatever. So negative. I mean,
Mm.
like it's so easy to discover your negativity.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
Um, and I wrote down, you know, change the way you think to change the way you feel. So I actively tried it, and I remember this. I actually tried it. Um, like I'm no good, right? Or this is stupid, or something like that. I wrote, okay, how can I look at it in a different way? And I
Mm.
actually found the opposite way of looking at it that was a positive way.
Perfect.
And it did not change the situations at all. It did not change the reality at all, but it made me feel positive. It made me feel good. It made me feel proactive, and that I ended up with directions that I could go in. Whether I
Yeah.
go in them or not, but I is another question.
100%. And it's
Yeah.
interesting, you're your own coach. So I'm a positive
Yes.
psychology and mindfulness coach, and I talk to people about positivity. When you're in that downward spiral and you look at everything as negative, it limits your whole scope of the world, and then
Hmm.
you're biased toward the negative. That's all you see. And you, by shifting to look towards the positive, not only you said it, it expands the ideas. Like if you feel trapped and you start thinking of positive, it opens it up. And of course, when
Hmm.
you're positive, more people, that's the way you're going to attract the supporters to get more people to support is opening that up. So you expanded, um, there's a lot of work with positive writing, like looking at a situation that you thought was bad from a positive perspective, or even it sounds like cheesy when people talk about gratitude journals, but it's amazing when I have people write three different things they're grateful for every day for like 3 months, and all of a sudden their whole shift. And you,
It's an old, and I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
yeah,
It's an old technique. At one point, I remember this very vividly. At one point in our lives, my wife and I were really at loggerheads. And, I'd be out working, doing shows, and I'd come back, I'd be exhausted and just miserable. It was like, just, so I was not feeling, it was probably back in the 90s. I was not feeling very loving, like, or grateful, or, you know, um, I was not feeling very much like that. And I remember reading something like that. Find something you can appreciate.
Yes.
Find something you can appreciate and be thankful for that. Be grateful for that, you know. And I remember it was vivid because the one I didn't like this, I didn't like that, I didn't like this. The one thing I came to was, well, she makes me dinner every night. I mean, we were, you know, like
Yes.
this is early on. She makes me dinner every night, and I felt appreciative for that. You know, I felt, geez, and so, you know, she'd make dinner, and I started saying thank you. I really appreciate that, and that for me kind of broke that kind of
100%. Yeah.
ugliness. Yeah.
So when I,
Mhm.
yeah, when I
So,
talk to people about relationships, I'm like the everything bagel of coaching. There's no topic that's not thrown at me. So when I talk to couples about relationships, yes, you have to work through, as you pointed out before, everything's about communication in all forms. But you did something really, two things that you did that was critical. Number one, I tell people, find three things that you appreciate about your partner and share it with them. Have them share it with you, that admiration, because it's so easy when you're at loggerheads, like you said, to notice all the bad, but if you, and then you don't notice all the good stuff. So that was number one. And then the second thing I tell people is find a way to connect, like little moments of connection. It can be walking by the kitchen and like rubbing your partner's shoulder or say, or I always use the example because we do this all the time. We have, when there's nature, if we see a squirrel, I'll be like, look at that squirrel out the window. And my husband will be like, oh yeah, look at that. Like these little tiny moments of connection.
mhm.
You discovered all this, by kind of just your intuition. So the journaling's working for you.
Um, uh, yeah. Oh, by the way, about that, I know you know about this book because you got one of
Yes, I
these,
have a
right?
copy. Yes.
Yeah. I don't
So
know if
so
you ever
tell us
used it,
though,
but
so tell us how it works for people who haven't seen it. Tell me how it
oh,
works.
this I got to tell you, this is not. I guess it's a journal, but I never thought of it as a journal. I did not think of it as a journal because my thing is about journaling. What I think I designed it for. I think I originally designed it for like Valentine's Day or something like that. And it just kind of morphed into something where people seem to really, really like this book. What it is, I guess it has different prompts, which I told you I'm not big on prompts. And the reason I'm not big on prompts is I don't like to limit how much space you have to
Yeah.
write. I don't like that. So this is I just want people to be free to free form their books. So this is actually a me and a you. And the idea behind it is that me writes to you.
Hmm.
I mean, it can be used in a lot of different ways. Uh, um, by the way, each prompt is different. Like you wake my soul. You know, what I mean, that's a beautiful thing. So me writes to you,
Hmm.
and it gives you the book. You know, like lays it on your pillow or something like that, or in the morning and
Yeah.
at breakfast. You know, it's at your place that me wrote to you,
Yeah.
and then you writes back. It writes back.
Yeah.
So the prompts are the same. There are pages that are me and you, like um, me. And I got to tell you that when I was going through this, it cracked me up the book. This me one is me plus you equals Yumi, one of my favorites. And Yumi happens to be the Japanese word for dream.
Ah,
Very
making the
serendipitous, right?
dream.
So this says, you know, me plus you equals dream. And this is from me to you, and you is me to you equals dream. So I thought about me writing it. You know, um, you plus me equals you me. It's Japanese for dream. And I got to tell you, you've been a nightmare for my whole entire life. You know, like just like I thought of the jokey versions. You know, like
But
you
I
wake
love
my
that.
soul. Please
I
put
don't
it
know
back
what
to
made
sleep.
me.
You know.
Yeah, I don't know what made me think of it, but back in the day when I'd have like pen pals, we used to have the little tape recorder cassette tapes, which I'm sad to say that there's a population who might look at this video and not know what I'm talking about. But I'd record, this is what I'm doing today, and here's a song I'm listening to, and then I'd mail it to a friend of mine, and then they would record something, and then they would mail it back, and we would do this for like years. So this is kind of like the adult version. I love it for people who are like dating to be able to, like, if you go over to your partner's place and you leave it. And then the next time they
Uh-huh.
come over, they bring it back. Or I think it's
Uh-huh.
for either people who are dating or maybe married couples like you described when they're looking for a way to connect if they're having trouble seeing the
Or older
positive.
or older couples. But I got to tell you, that tape recording thing, I never heard of that. That is awesome. I love that.
I apparently had a lot more free time as a kid than I do now. I tell you that.
I think that that's
I
awesome.
still have one of them. I had a pen pal overseas. I only met him twice, and we ended up sending like letters back and forth for like 9.5 years. So it was the things that people don't do anymore with text messages and emails.
And emails. Yeah, like the digital. That's another reason why you should journal.
That's probably why I like that so much, that idea, because it's something tangible. And and when you write by hand, it's cognitively you use more of your brain, you remember it more, you have more of an emotional connection than if you're just texting.
Oh, that's something else I discovered while journaling. When you're writing and you have like memories come up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 73, so like memories come up and I, totally out of the blue, and they lead you to someplace else. And it's like the the more a memory comes up, the more memories come up.
Yeah.
Like the more you do something, the more you have from it. It's like if you start to record your dreams, if you have a dream journal and you start to record your
Yeah.
dreams, you're going to start remembering your dreams more.
Yes, for sure.
If you start being, if you start writing down gratitude, you're gonna find much more gratitude to give. But that reminds me of a glimmer. Have you ever heard of glimmers?
Yes. Yes. Looking for
We're glimmer.
glimmers in the world. That I forget it came from. I heard it from a friend of mine who is a retired therapist. She always told people to look for glimmers in the world. So it's a
Yeah.
similar to gratitude, but just it could be like, oh, look at that rainbow, or oh, look at that. Anything that inspires like awe. Like if I'm out in
One of my
nature.
one of my last cognizant glimmer was watching my dog drink water. I
I've
mean,
got one. I've got one. A
it's
dog
just a
story.
big pleasure. Yeah.
I know my husband laughs at me, so I cut up, but then now he does it too. So I cut up a bit of apple for our dog. And our dog makes the funniest noise which when she's eating the apple. So I had a video which nobody appreciates where she's just eating an apple and I'm giggling and now he's giggling like every time we just stop to watch her eat her apple. But it's those
You
little
know,
things and that's a moment of connection.
my dog unfortunately doesn't eat apples the way my other dogs did. I mean, I keep treating them. Uh, yeah, no, I hear you. That connection, especially with an animal, is just awesome.
Right. Or if you see a
Yeah.
cat, I don't know if you like cats. We have cats. One
I'm not a cat person.
Oh, I forgive you.
It's okay.
We can
Yeah, it's
we
all
can
right.
still be friends,
No, no, go
but the
ahead.
cat like will actually purposefully like take the paw and drink out of the paw, and I'm like, it's like a little human.
Are you serious? A
Oh
cat will
yeah,
do
yeah.
that?
If I can catch it on video, I'll send you. But actually, we have
A
one
cat will
cat
go like
that
this?
will yes, yep, yep.
All right, now you got me shocked. My daughter actually has cats. At first, I almost disowned her, but she has cats and she just loves them. Yeah.
I think if you were forced to be around them for any length of time, you might change your position unless you have a cat
All right.
allergy.
All right. Let me explain to you why. Just so you know, I had a cat when I was in college, named Kit Kat. Great little cat, black and white. My first wife. Well, I actually started the puppet theater with my first wife. She had like 26 cats,
Okay, I could see where that was
and
a
there
little overload.
there were a little bit of, and there were a lot of, there were a lot of strays that lived outside, and I think we had 4 or 5 cats living inside, and I began to really hate cats. Like,
I could see that. That makes sense. Hey,
yeah,
so while we have time, can you show me your other journaling book that you and how you've structured it for projects?
sure. Well, I made using the one I'm using right now is this one, the Tabula Rasa.
Okay, how does that work? Tell me.
It's just a regular journal. It's just I write
Hmm.
um, I write here, and then let me see. I think it's I haven't been reviewing there yet. And then I review and I make notes on what I've written. And if I see something I like that I want to maintain a memory of, I highlight it. I use two highlighters. one for the date,
Hmm.
and one for things I want to remember. So and then the thing I want to remember, I index it in the back. There's an index back
So
there.
is this related to the right review index method?
Oh, that's what I'm all about. By the way, in terms of journaling, these are your best friend. The yeah. Just to give you an example, this was okay. So I'm thinking of writing something,
Hmm.
and this was an idea I wanted to hold on to. One thought was to have an ending line for everything, sort of like a song refrain. You know, I wanted if I'm writing a story or something, I'm thinking I should have an ending line like a refrain.
Mm.
This book is a book I designed for puppeteers. It's a
I love
puppeteer's
that
notebook.
cover.
Yeah, actually, the guy who this puppet, he gave me permission to use this picture. His name is Bernd Grodnik. He's from Iceland. He's absolutely brilliant, and he teaches people how to carve puppets. I mean, he's an absolutely brilliant puppeteer, and I asked him for permission to use the picture, and
And
he
it's
gave it to
great.
me.
I've given your book to a couple different people, and the first thing they're like, "I love this cover."
Yeah, they should look up. Actually, I Burns' name is in the book. Yeah, the very first page gives the credit to Burn,
Yeah,
and you can find his Academy of Wooden Puppets online.
I'll take a
It's
look. I can put it in the description of this episode.
it's actually in the book,
Oh, okay.
so it's in the book. Yeah, and what this is a sketchbook. It's a it's built like a Ray Journal project,
Hmm.
but it's also a sketchbook with a blank page here and a place to make notes here if you want on your page. I included quotes about theater and art and puppetry. Like this quote is this is actually from Jim Henson. It's puppetry is the art of giving life to dreams.
Mm.
That's so true. I mean, so there are 43 pages of those quotes. Um,
So
A
if
puppeteer
somebody,
is a master of illusion, creating life where there was once stillness. I mean, it's great. And then there's these, a grid page, and in the back there's pages for storyboarding. It's designed for a puppeteer to, or actually anybody who's designing some sort of presentation. It's good
Mhm.
for them. Yeah.
So if somebody is, so it's ideal for somebody who's designing a presentation specifically of any kind. Just do you walk people through how to use the book when they open it up?
In the introduction, I do a little bit. Yeah, in the introduction. See, there's an introduction
Hmm.
that kind of explains what it's all about.
Is it something that
Um,
you can simplify for those watching this video? How does the process work for that book?
it's the same. I mean, my process is write, review, and index. The index is the important is
And the
the way
index
you
goes in
find
the
it is
back.
the index, and there's an index in the back of this book too. I mean, it's all that is the most important thing to me is the review is the most important thing to me, and the way and indexing is what keeps it. Well, maybe I didn't. Oh yeah. Oh, hang on. See, there's an index page
Ah,
in the
okay.
back. Um, and that's why you have numbers on the pages. And also on the spine, you can mark the number of what number book it is.
Gotcha.
So if you use a lot I mean, my idea was that and I have a shelf of these and it tells me what book I am. And this is book number 13,
Oh,
like,
wow.
so I mean, I put it in the shelf. They're all the same size. Um, well, you asked me something specific and I'd like to answer it.
Oh, just if somebody were picking up that book for the first time, is there a simple way to tell them how to use it?
Yeah. I I have a rule when it comes to pretty much everything. I have a rule. I had a rule about puppetry. I
Hmm.
mean, when I would teach people about puppetry, um, and I have the same rule for journaling. And the rule is my number one rule is that there are no rules. If it works for you, it's right, and if it doesn't work for you, change it. I mean, that's pretty much. my rule of anything. If it works for you, it's right. And if it there are no rules, if it works for you, it's right. And if it doesn't work, change it
Yeah.
and try it another way. Um, and don't be so precious about that. Just do it. Uh, because your mistakes are your teachers. So to use this, you can write your ideas down. There's a place for you to draw your ideas down. There's a place for you to sketch out, the way you may want something to look. And the storyboarding, which honestly, between you and me and whoever's watching this, I don't use storyboarding a lot. Now, um, a puppeteer up over in Wales introduced me to the concept of storyboarding. I mean, I've been familiar with storyboarding for a very long time,
Yeah.
but he showed me a way of doing it that I found it to be very effective. And then when I was putting this book together for puppeteers, somebody who's a dear friend, she wanted me to have storyboards in there. And I did find a value to trying to sketch when I was trying to do the videos, you know, that transition thing.
Mhm.
I found it very useful to do it like that. And
Absolutely. In fact, I actually gave a copy to a friend of mine who is a relatively new yoga instructor, though she's been studying for years. And she and I were putting together a workshop. And I said, well, I showed her, I said, you can storyboard, even if it's a sketch of the pose and the
yeah,
sequence, it'll help you with sequencing. So,
absolutely. Uh-huh.
and I
Yeah.
use that kind of storyboarding for like videos if I'm doing like a promo video. So I'm glad you have it in there.
Yeah, no, it's a very useful thing. I did it for with this puppeteer in Wales. He's actually brilliant. He's an expert on something called lambe lambe, which is a an Argentine kind of puppetry, lambe lambe. It's where it's really for one person. You're looking through a little hole and you're watching something. And he's an expert on lambe lambe. And he, I was taking a workshop with him, and he encouraged storyboarding. And I still have that. This is from a couple of years ago, and I still have that storyboard because I like the concept I came up with. I never did it, but
Yeah.
boy, did I like that concept, and it was leading me everywhere. It was like a mental journaling, kind of
Yeah.
like creative journaling. It was like awesome.
So I
Yeah.
have time for, I think, one, maybe two more questions before we wrap up. Before we wrap up, what message would you like people to take away from today's talk? You had said some things about creativity and process. Is there anything you want to share with the audience?
Um, yeah, I guess so. One of the most useful things I think you can have is knowing your objective, and um, that's really hard to pinpoint. My daughter actually taught me that during while I was doing a workshop after COVID. She said, "What's your objective?" And I found knowing what your objective is very important. So I'm actually struggling with the idea of what is my objective in journaling, and currently I'm struggling with that,
Mm,
and I'm coming to ideas as to what my objective is in journaling. But I still go back to the stream of consciousness. I don't care where it goes because it takes me somewhere, and
yeah.
um, I mean, it doesn't have to be a lot. You can do it for 15 minutes. You can do it for 5 minutes. And I think if anything, if people are worried about their creativity, oh my God, I'm not creative. Oh my God, I'm not imaginative. Oh my God, I'm not this. I'm not that. It's like, it's not true. It's
Yeah.
just not true. Uh, Creativity is a birthright that belongs to everybody.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't want to pull in any kind of religious significance. I mean, whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, but that whole idea of um, a creator creating you is the idea that a creator created a creator. In other words,
Hmm.
we are born as creators, and that belongs to us. And if you don't think you can do it, you do it on a regular basis all day long. You just not may be aware of it. Like you're driving and um, you do something it's creative. If you were just going straight, you'd hit into something. I mean, you'd crash. I mean, that's so creativity belongs to everybody. If you're not a great artist, you know, fine, big deal. I have a book downstairs on my desk, written by a guy named Helms, Helms, Richard Helms, I think it is. And the name of the book is Thinking with a Pencil, Thinking with a Pencil. And this was back in the 50s. And in fact, the idea that anybody can draw came from him in my head. The bottom line is everybody draws. You can draw. You're not a Matisse, you're not a Picasso, but you can draw. Everybody can draw. You draw a line, you can draw.
I have
So
people do
it's just
that in their journals. If they don't want to use words, sketch. Whatever gets the emotions and the thoughts out where you understand them. Nobody else has to understand it but you, you know?
I have journals full of pictures. You know, I mean, really, I do. I've kind of gravitated away from, you know, picturizing to going to writing, because I'm not a great artist. You know, like I don't learn, I don't know the skills on how to draw. You don't need them. You
Yeah.
don't need them. All my sketches for years for my puppet shows were actually all realized, and they're all very crude, and I understood them. It was just me trying to figure something out, and that's what I designed. I was better in a 3D sculptural way.
So, um, as we wrap up, what is next for you, or is that what you're figuring out? I will have a link to your Amazon page so people can buy.
Go to my website is better than the
Okay,
Amazon page.
what's the website?
The
Mhm.
Right, Right,
Mhm.
the Right Journal
Okay.
Project.com.
Okay,
The
I will
Right
have that in the
Journal
description
Project.
of this
Thank you.
episode.
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
You know, the only thing that's next for me is trying. Actually, I'm designing a new book. I have a new idea on journaling that just a name I'm pretty excited about, uh, and making it look cool and making it separate so that it's not journal, it's something else. It becomes a name that becomes recognized. I made up a portmanteau word. Um, so I'm excited about that. What's really it, what's next for me is what was yesterday, and that is working on journals and working on paper puppets, because I've been fascinated by paper puppets from the 80s, and lately I have the last ones I designed were maybe a month or so ago, 2 months ago, and I've left it, and I'm working more on the journals. I go back and forth for different projects.
Okay. Mark, thank you so much for talking with me today. This was so much fun.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, and I hope it's a value to you. I learned from you today, so thank you very much.
Well, hopefully people listen to this and get some words. I know there were some great nuggets of wisdom in here. So thank you so much.
From you specifically.
Well, we'll share the glory.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. But
We're so great. Thank you,
I
Mark.
I appreciate you pursuing this, and thank you so much for sticking with me. And I hope people journal, you know, write.
Hi, Stump here for the Right Project Journal Project. Um, hi, Stump here for the Right Project Journal Project Journal. That's it. Hi, Stump here, stumping for the Right Project Journal Project Journal. Yeah. Before I started using this book, people used to think of me as a kind of a funny looking, odd green troll. Can you imagine? But now, look at me. Excuse me. Yeah, you're still kind of a funny looking, odd green troll. Are you talking to me? Well, there's nobody else here. Are you talking to me? Yeah. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe I am an odd-looking green troll, but you know what? I am now self-actualized. Uh, I don't know what that means. Self-actualized? Oh boy, I don't know what that means. You too can become self-actualized. Do yourself a favor. Get this right project journal and write in it every day, and you too, yes, you could be. That's the ticket. That's the ticket. Yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to write in that journal, and I don't understand self-actual. What does that mean? I don't know. Oh, I don't know what that means. I don't know.